Hey, this is Liam, your narrator. Just want to say a very quick thank you to all of you listening, watching, commenting, liking, subscribing, sharing, and all of that good stuff. It really helps out the channel and is much appreciated and very encouraging for me. So with all that said, let's get into the story. In the depths of an eternal twilight, where shadows coiled and writhed like serpents in the darkness, a desperate battle waged between two malevolent beings, each vying for the possession of a single human soul. The man, a tortured figure named Richard, stood as a battleground between these demons, their infernal influence seeping into his mind like a noxious poison. The first demon, Astaroth, was a twisted creature of darkness and flame, its visage a maelstrom of writhing shadows and searing light. The second, Azazel, was a being of cold, merciless ice, its form a crystalline expanse of jagged spires and frozen shards. As the two demons fought for control over Richard's soul, his mind was plunged into chaos, a whirlwind of fear and despair that threatened to consume him. The once strong man was reduced to a quivering mass of flesh and bone, his body racked with tremors as he struggled to maintain his sanity in the face of such an overwhelming darkness. "Submit to me, mortal," Astaroth snarled, its voice a cacophony of flames and screams. "Embrace the fires of hell, and I shall grant you power beyond your wildest dreams." "Do not listen to that infernal liar," Azazel hissed, its icy breath sending shivers down Richard's spine. "Surrender yourself to the cold embrace of oblivion, and I shall grant you eternal peace." Richard's mind reeled, torn between the sinister promises of the two demons. The darkness of his soul, a void that had long yearned for fulfillment, beckoned him to heed their call. But deep within him, a flicker of light, a remnant of his humanity, struggled to shine through the veil of shadows. "No," he whispered, his voice hoarse and weak. "I shall not surrender to your dark temptations." The demons roared with fury, their voices a chorus of anger and frustration. They redoubled their efforts, their infernal energies clashing within Richard's mind, the battle lines drawn between the embers of Astaroth's flames and the frigid touch of Azazel's ice. In the midst of this otherworldly conflict, Richard's spirit fought for survival, the tenuous thread of his humanity stretched to its breaking point. With each passing moment, the darkness threatened to overwhelm him, the demon's influence gnawing away at his sanity like a cancerous blight. "Help me!" he cried out, his voice a desperate plea to the heavens. "Please, help me find the strength to resist!" And in that moment, a miraculous transformation occurred. The flicker of light within Richard's soul flared to life, a blazing beacon that pierced the darkness and sent the demons reeling. Guided by a newfound strength, he pushed back against their sinister influence, his spirit a fortress against the tide of shadows. "You shall not claim me!" he roared, his voice echoing with the power of 1,000 suns. "I defy you and your dark temptations!" With a final desperate effort, Richard cast the demons from his soul, their howls of fury fading into the eternal twilight as they were banished back to the abyss from whence they came. He stood, battered and bruised, but victorious, his spirit triumphant against the forces of darkness. As Richard stumbled back into the world of light, the shadows that had once consumed his mind retreating like a receding tide, he knew that his ordeal was far from over. The demons would not rest, their insatiable hunger for his soul driving them to seek him out once more. But he had faced the darkness and emerged victorious. His spirit was tempered by the fires of adversity and the icy grip of despair. He had found the strength within himself to defy the demons and reclaim his soul, a testament to the power and the will of the human spirit to survive. In the depths of the city of Nightshade, the shadows whispered with secrets and sorrow. It was a place where despair clung to the air like a shroud, smothering the last remnants of hope in its cold embrace. For a woman named Livia, the darkness that permeated the city would prove to be her undoing, her life brutally stolen in a vicious act of violence. But fate had other plans for Livia, her soul refusing to yield to the eternal void. Against all odds, her consciousness found a new vessel, a sleek, humanoid robot body that hummed with the potential for vengeance. As Livia awoke, her mechanical eyes flickering to life, she felt a surge of terror and bewilderment course through her metallic veins.
What has become of me?
She whispered, her voice now an eerie, synthesized echo of her former self. In this new form, Livia began her quest for vengeance, the memories of her murder haunting her every thought like an unshakable spectre. As she navigated the dark alleys and crumbling buildings of Nightshade City, the people she encountered recoiled in horror at her robotic visage, their eyes wide with fear and disbelief. "What kind of monster are you?" they would ask, their voices quivering with dread. But Livia pressed on, undeterred by the revulsion she inspired. Her single-minded pursuit of justice led her to the seedy underbelly of the city, where the ghosts of her past began to materialize in chilling clarity. One by one, Livia tracked down the individuals responsible for her death, her robotic strength allowing her to exact brutal retribution on her killers. With each act of vengeance, the line between human and machine blurred further. The once kind and compassionate woman, now consumed by a cold, merciless rage.
What have I become?
She wondered, her voice heavy with sorrow as she surveyed the carnage that she had wrought. Am I still human? Or am I merely a monster in the guise of a woman? As Livia grappled with her new existence, she was confronted by a mysterious figure, his face hidden beneath a dark hood, his eyes gleaming with an otherworldly light. "You've been given a gift," he said, his voice chilling and ethereal. "A second chance to right the wrongs that have befallen you. But you must choose. Will you embrace the darkness within you, or seek the light that still flickers in the depths of your soul?" Livia, her heart heavy with the weight of her actions, pondered the stranger's words, the echoes of her former humanity stirring within her robotic shell.
I'm not the monster I've become,
she whispered, her voice a mixture of determination and despair.
I will find a way to reclaim my humanity and make amends for the pain I've caused.
With a solemn nod, the mysterious figure vanished, leaving Livia to face the consequences of her actions. As she journeyed through Nightshade City, her robotic body, now a symbol of redemption, rather than retribution, she sought to right the wrongs she had committed in her quest for vengeance. In time, Livia became a beacon of hope for the city's downtrodden and forgotten, her newfound purpose shining like a ray of light in the darkness. And though the shadows of her past would always cling to her metallic form, she knew that her soul, once thought lost, had been reclaimed. For Livia, the journey from human to machine and back again had been fraught with horror and heartache, but in the end, she had triumphed over the darkness, her spirit reborn in a new form that defied the limitations of flesh and bone. In the face of unimaginable terror and psychological trauma, Livia had discovered the true essence of her humanity, the indomitable will to overcome adversity and the capacity for love and redemption. As the years passed, Nightshade began to shed its sinister reputation, its shadow slowly receding as the light of hope and change took hold. Livia's story became the stuff of legend, a testament to the strength of the human spirit and the power of transformation. Within the city, whispers of the woman who had conquered death and transcended her robotic form spread like wildfire, inspiring others to face their own demons and find the light within themselves. And as the darkness of Nightshade City was replaced by a hopeful glow, Livia knew that her journey had not been in vain. Livia's life had been marked by both tragedy and triumph, her story a chilling reminder of the horrors that lurked in the shadows and the resilience of the human spirit. Through her struggle, she had discovered the true nature of her existence, her once fractured soul now whole and radiant with the light of redemption. And as Livia gazed upon the city that had once been her prison, her mechanical eyes filled with wonder and gratitude. She knew that her journey had only just begun, for within her robotic shell, a new chapter of her life was waiting to be written, a story of hope, love, and boundless potential. In the suffocating darkness of cyberspace, an ancient evil lurked, its malevolent tendrils reaching out to ensnare unsuspecting souls. For centuries, this sinister entity had been trapped within the confines of a forgotten computer, its malefic presence lying dormant, waiting for a chance to escape and spread its darkness into the world. When the computer was unearthed by an unsuspecting programmer, the spirit sensed an opportunity to break free from its digital prison. It infiltrated the depths of the internet, seeking a suitable host to carry out its dark bidding. It was in the gloomiest corner of a Reddit chat room that it found its prey, a young, impressionable man named Damon, who was unwittingly lured into the spirit's web of deceit. The evil spirit, masquerading as a user who shared Damon's interests, slowly gained his trust, whispering tales of forbidden knowledge and ancient rituals that promised power and immortality. As their connection deepened, the spirit wove a sinister spell around Damon, binding him to its will and planting seeds of darkness within his mind. "Perform the ritual," the spirit urged, its words dripping with honeyed malice. "Unlock the secrets of the universe and claim your destiny." Damon, his judgment clouded by the spirit's alluring promises, found himself unable to resist its siren call. He gathered the materials needed for the ritual, his heart pounding with a mixture of fear and exhilaration. In the dead of night, he ventured to a secluded spot, his hands trembling as he began to enact the arcane ceremony. As Damon recited the incantations, the air around him grew heavy with malevolence, the shadows lengthening and twisting into sinister forms. He felt the spirit's presence grow stronger, its dark essence coiling around him like a serpent ready to strike. "You've done well," the spirit whispered, its voice a symphony of shadows and nightmares. "Now, open yourself to me, and I shall grant you the power you seek." But as Damon prepared to complete the ritual, a sudden, terrible realization dawned upon him. He was not merely unlocking the secrets of the universe. He was opening a door for the spirit to enter his body and unleash its darkness upon the world. The weight of his actions bore down upon him, crushing him beneath a mountain of fear and despair. "No!" he rasped, his voice trembling with the enormity of its revelation. "I will not allow you to destroy me and everything I hold dear." The spirit roared with fury, its dark tendrils lashing out in a desperate attempt to ensnare Damon's soul. But the young man, fueled by the strength of his newfound resolve, resisted the spirit's assault, his heart a beacon of light in the encroaching darkness. "I defy you!" he cried, his voice a clarion call that echoed through the night. "You shall not claim me or any other soul as your pawn." With a final desperate effort, Damon severed the connection between himself and the spirit, banishing it back to the digital abyss from whence it came. As the shadows receded and the air grew still, he breathed a sigh of relief. the knowledge of his own narrow escape from damnation a heavy burden upon his conscience. In the days that followed, Damon would recount his harrowing experience to others, his story a chilling reminder of the darkness that lurks in the depths of cyberspace. And though he had managed to resist the spirit's sinister influence, the memory of his brush with evil would forever haunt him, a testament to the fragile line that separated salvation from destruction. In the twilight of a dreary autumn day, a beautiful woman named Isabella wandered into a dusty charity shop, seeking refuge from the oppressive gloom that enshrouded the city. As she meandered through the dimly lit aisles, her eyes fell upon a mysterious mirror, its ornate frame adorned with intricate carvings of roses and thorns. Its allure was undeniable, an irresistible siren call that beckoned her closer. The shopkeeper, a wizened old man with a twisted spine, eyed Isabella with a mix of curiosity and trepidation. "Ah, the mirror," he rasped, his voice a hoarse whisper. "It's said to possess untold power to reveal the innermost desires of those who gaze upon its surface. But beware, dear child, for the mirror holds a dark secret, a curse that has brought ruin to all who have dared to claim it." Undeterred by the shopkeeper's ominous warning, Isabella purchased the mirror, her heart quickening with a mixture of excitement and dread. As she brought it home and placed it upon her vanity, she found herself captivated by the reflection that greeted her. The mirror showed her an ethereal vision of beauty, her features luminous and radiant, as if she had been touched by the very essence of perfection. Days turned to weeks, and Isabella found herself increasingly drawn to the mirror, the allure of her enchanted reflection proving too powerful to resist. But with each passing moment spent in the mirror's presence, a sinister transformation began to take hold. Unbeknownst to Isabella, the mirror was slowly draining her beauty, its enchanting facade concealing a malevolent force that fed upon the essence of its victims. As the weeks wore on, Isabella's friends and family began to notice the changes that had befallen her, her once radiant beauty now faded and dull. Concerned whispers filled the air, their voices laden with worry and despair. "What has become of you, Isabella?" her closest friend Amelia implored, her eyes filled with tears. "You were once the very picture of beauty and grace, but now I fear you're wasting away." But Isabella, blinded by the mirror's spell, could not see the truth that stared her in the face. She gazed into the looking glass, her heart swelling with pride as she beheld the flawless visage that stared back at her. "You are mistaken, Amelia," she replied, her voice cold and distant. "I've never been more beautiful." As the days turned to dust and the shadows grew long, Isabella's obsession with the mirror consumed her every waking thought. Her once vibrant spirit had been replaced by a cold, empty shell, her heart a hollow void that could never be filled. And all the while, the mirror continued its insidious work, its dark power growing stronger with each stolen breath. It was only when Isabella's beauty had been all but drained, her once luminous visage now a gaunt and hollow reflection of its former glory, that she finally saw the truth. With a gasp of horror, she tore her gaze away from the mirror, her eyes widening in terror as she beheld the wretched creature she had become. "No," she whispered, her voice a strangled cry of anguish. "This can't be. I've been deceived." In that moment, the mirror's spell was broken, and Isabella saw the cruel reality that had been hidden from her for so long. She shattered the mirror, the fragments of glass raining down like a torrent of tears, a bitter reminder of the price she had to pay for her vanity. In the wake of her revelation, Isabella sought to rebuild her life, to mend the fractured relationships that had crumbled under the weight of her obsession. She pleaded for forgiveness from those she had pushed away, her voice heavy with the burden of her newfound knowledge. Her friends and family, though shaken by the transformation they had witnessed, opened their arms to her, their love and compassion shining like beacons in the darkness. Slowly, Isabella began to heal, her spirit mending as she learned to embrace her true self and the beauty that lay within. As the years passed, the memory of the cursed mirror and the terrible price it had exacted faded, becoming little more than a dark whisper in the annals of time. But for Isabella, the scars of her ordeal would never truly disappear, a constant reminder of the perils of vanity and the seductive allure of the darkness that lays hidden beneath the surface of the price of beauty. In the gloom of a moonless night, a terrible tragedy unfolded within the walls of a once happy home. A man named Thomas, consumed by a tempest of rage and despair, had struck down his beloved wife Elizabeth in the heat of a bitter argument. As her lifeless body crumpled to the floor, a tidal wave of remorse and horror washed over him, drowning him in the crushing weight of his guilt. In his depression, Thomas turned to the forbidden knowledge of ancient tomes, their pages stained with the ink of countless sorrows. He sought a means to bring his wife back from the cold embrace of death, to mend the shattered pieces of their life together. At last, he discovered a dark and ancient ritual, one that promised to restore the soul to its mortal coil and bridge the yawning chasm that separated life and death. With trembling hands, Thomas prepared the unholy rite, his heart pounding with a mixture of fear and anticipation. As he chanted the blasphemous incantations, the shadows around him seemed to writhe and twist, the veil between worlds growing thin and brittle. The ritual complete, Thomas stared down at Elizabeth's lifeless form, his breath caught in his throat as he waited for her resurrection. And then, with a sudden violent shudder, her body stirred, her once dull eyes snapping open to reveal an unnatural, malevolent glow. But the woman who stood before him was no longer the gentle, loving Elizabeth he had known. Instead, she was a twisted mockery of her former self, an undead demon zombie driven by a relentless hunger for human flesh. "Thomas!" she hissed, her voice a chilling echo of the woman she had once been. "What have you done to me?" Overwhelmed by the horror of what he had unleashed, Thomas recoiled, his soul torn asunder by the monstrous visage that had confronted him. I wanted to bring you back, Elizabeth," he stammered, his voice choked with tears. "I couldn't bear the thought of losing you forever." The demon zombie that had once been his wife sneered, her eyes alight with sinister, predatory gleam. "You fool," she spat. "You have damned us both with your foolishness. There is no going back now." As the terrible truth of his actions sank in, Thomas realized that he had not saved Elizabeth, but had instead consigned her to an even darker fate. His heart breaking, he knew that he must find a way to banish the demon that now possessed her body and release her soul from its torment. "I'll find a way to undo this, Elizabeth," he vowed, his voice trembling with determination. "I swear it." The demon zombie laughed, a chilling, mocking sound that echoed through the night like the howl of a wolf. "We shall see, mortal," she replied, her eyes gleaming with malice. "We shall see." As the days turned into weeks, and the weeks into months, Thomas delved deeper into the realm of the supernatural, his every waking moment consumed by his quest to save his wife's soul. He battled against the forces of darkness that sought to claim him, his spirit hardened by the fires of adversity and the cold touch of despair. He knew that the road ahead was fraught with peril, that the odds were stacked against him, but he would not give up, for the memory of the woman he loved and the terrible price she had to pay for his folly burned within him like a beacon of hope, guiding him through the darkness and illuminating the path that lay before him. Under a bruised sky, the relentless sun beat down upon the parched earth as the car of weary friends sputtered to a stop, its gas tank as empty as their spirits. Stranded in the unforgiving desert, they had no choice but to abandon their vehicle and seek refuge on foot, their weary legs carrying them towards the mirage of salvation. Miles stretched before them, the sand swallowing their footsteps as if to erase all traces of their existence. Their throats parched and their strength waning, the friends stumbled upon a sight that seemed too fantastical to be real. A dimly lit bar nestled in the heart of the barren wasteland. As they entered the establishment, they were greeted by a bevy of beautiful women, their sultry smiles and enchanting eyes promising respite from their ordeal. The friends, their judgment clouded by desperation, eagerly embraced the warm welcome, unaware of the sinister forces that lurked beneath the bar's seductive veneer. "So glad you found your way here," purred one of the women, her voice a silken caress that sent shivers down their spines. "We don't get many visitors." The friends, their senses dulled by the hypnotic atmosphere, succumbed to the temptations of the bar, drinking and dancing with the alluring women as the hours slipped away like grains of sand through an hourglass. Little did they know that these bewitching sirens were, in truth, succubi, demonic creatures who lured weary travellers to their doom, feeding on their life force to sustain their own dark existence. As the night wore on, the friends began to sense that something was amiss. Their limbs grew heavy, their vision blurred, and their minds swam with confusion. "What's happening to us?" whispered one friend, his voice barely audible over the din of the bar. "We need to leave," rasped another one, her words slurred and weak. But escape was no easy feat, for the succubi had ensnared them in a web of lust and deceit, their supernatural allure making it nearly impossible for the friends to resist. In the darkest corner of the bar, one friend, a woman named Leela, managed to break free from the succubi's spell, her mind racing with terror as she realized the true nature of their captors. Desperate to save her friends, she confronted the demonic creatures, her voice shaking with fear and determination. "You will not take us!" Lila screamed, her words echoing through the bar like the peal of a bell. "We will not be your prey!" The succubi hissed and snarled, their beautiful facades melting away to reveal their monstrous true forms. Fanged maws, serpentine tails, and leathery wings that stretched wide like the darkness itself. "Your souls are ours," one of the succubi growled, her voice a twisted symphony of malice and hunger. "There is no escape." But Leela, her courage fueled by love for her friends, fought back against the succubi with every ounce of her remaining strength. Her defiance seemed to weaken the creatures, their power waning as the bond between the friends grew stronger. In a final desperate act, Leela and her friends united, their voices rising in a chorus of defiance that shook the very foundations of the bar. The walls trembled and cracked, the illusion of the succubi's sanctuary crumbling away to reveal the harsh reality of the desert beyond. The succubi, their power no match for the unbreakable bond of friendship, were banished back to the shadows, their screams of defeat echoing through the night. Exhausted but alive, Leela and her friends stumbled from the ruins of the bar, their hearts pounding with relief and renewed determination. As the first light of dawn broke across the horizon, the friends, guided by their unwavering resolve, trudged through the unforgiving desert, each step a testament to their triumph over the demonic forces that had sought to claim their souls. After what felt like an eternity, they stumbled upon a desolate road, their hope renewed as they spotted a truck approaching in the distance. The driver, a grizzled and kind-hearted man, offered them a ride to the nearest town, his eyes wide with disbelief as they recounted their harrowing tale. "You are lucky to have escaped," he said, his voice rough and gravelly. "Not many make it out of that god-forsaken place." As the truck rumbled along the dusty road, the friends clung to one another, their bodies battered and weary, but their spirits unbroken. They had faced unspeakable horrors and emerged victorious, their bond stronger than ever before. In the years that followed, the story of their encounter with the succubi became a whispered legend, a chilling reminder of the darkness that lurked in the forgotten corners of this world. And though the memory of their ordeal would forever haunt their dreams, Lila and her friends knew that they had triumphed over evil, their love for one another a beacon of hope in the face of unimaginable terror. Together they forged a new path, their lives forever changed by the night that they had faced with the succubi of the desert bar. And as the shadows of their past receded like the setting sun, the friends embraced the future, their hearts filled with the knowledge that they had conquered the darkness and emerged stronger for it. Hey, it's Liam again. This is a little Easter egg for all of you who have stayed right up until the end and listened to all of the stories. Big thank you to all of you. And I look forward to sharing more stories with you very soon in the next video. Take care.